Anxiety is akin to a constant hum, an invisible buzz that accompanies the mind even in moments of perceived tranquility. It needn't have a clear cause to manifest. Sometimes a mere anticipation, a fleeting glance, a transient thought is enough. And when we speak of sexual intimacy, this hum intensifies. It creeps into the bedroom with you, lies beside you, weighs down on your chest, and transforms what should be pleasure into performance, surrender into obligation. It's as if the mind constructs a stage, sets the spotlight ablaze, and demands that you shine. But all you feel is the dread of stumbling. Many couples live with this dilemma without even realizing the problem is there, disguised. They exchange affection for silence, touch for distance, and gradually intimacy becomes an unfamiliar territory. Anxiety, silent and persistent, erodes confidence. It plants doubts where desire once bloomed, transforming intimate moments into internal evaluations. Was I good enough? Did she notice I failed? What if he never wants me like this again? These thoughts are subtle, yet powerful. They are like cracks in a wall. If left unattended, one day everything will crumble. And we're not just talking about long-term relationships or older individuals. Young people in their early 20s are already reporting feeling this pressure. A 23-year-old man who recently sought help shared that his heart would race whenever he was with his girlfriend, not with excitement but with fear. Fear of not being able to reciprocate, of disappointing her, of losing control. The result? He started avoiding intimate encounters. What's most painful is that in an attempt to conceal his anxiety, he ended up emotionally distancing himself. She thought he had lost interest, and he, drowning in shame, couldn't articulate what he was going through. This kind of scenario repeats more often than we realize. The body feels everything. Anxious thoughts hinder the flow of arousal. Lubrication fails to appear, erection falters, and orgasm seems an unattainable goal. Shame then casts its shadow. But the truth is, this is not a failure, but rather an overload. It's the nervous system saying, hey, I'm in survival mode, not pleasure mode. And as long as this signal isn't acknowledged, the cycle persists. Sexual anxiety doesn't originate solely from the intimate moment itself. Its roots run deeper, often stemming from childhood, from ill-conceived words, hurtful comparisons, or traumatic experiences. At other times, it arises from societal pressures, unrealistic portrayals of sexuality in pornography, and the performance expectations imposed by a culture that demands but fails to provide guidance on navigating one's own sexuality. How many individuals have heard the damaging pronouncements that a real man is always ready, or that a real woman must satisfy her partner whenever he desires? These myths fuel anxiety like gasoline on a fire. It is at this juncture that genuine pleasure is compromised. Sex transforms into an obligation, a responsibility, a goal. And then, when the body fails to respond, when the mind falters, the individual feels shattered. But they are not. They are merely overburdened. And they require solace, not demands. Understanding, not judgment. Is there an exit? Yes, there is. And it begins with a simple yet transformative step: stopping the inner struggle. Anxiety isn't an enemy. It's an alarm, a signal that something needs attention. And when you learn to listen to this alarm with empathy, rather than guilt, everything starts to shift. The second step is to seek support. Talking to someone you trust, opening your heart to your partner, seeking out a professional. Not to fix something, but to gain a deeper understanding of yourself. Often, the mere act of articulating one's feelings can provide significant relief. A 31-year-old woman recounted that after a year of avoiding intimacy out of fear of not experiencing pleasure, she had an honest conversation with her husband. For the first time, he grasped that the issue wasn't a lack of affection, but rather an abundance of apprehension. And in that very dialogue, a renewed connection blossomed between them, one characterized by greater authenticity and liberation. By the way, take this opportunity to tell me something. Have you ever lived through a similar situation? Or do you know someone who has gone through something like this? Tell me in the comments, of course, if you feel comfortable. Let's cultivate a safe space here, free from judgment. Your story could help more people than you realize. And if this content is helping you in any way, if it's opening your eyes to issues you might not have considered before, take this opportunity to subscribe to the channel. We're building a welcoming community to discuss sexuality, mental health, and relationships in an authentic, honest, and lighthearted way. No taboos, no pressure, just truth. Subscribe and join us on this journey. Cultivating a healthy sex life is not an overnight affair. It's a journey of discovery, adjustments, and above all, respecting one's own boundaries. One of the most common pitfalls is attempting to fast-track this process. Anxiety is often the direct consequence of this acceleration. It's the urgency to resolve, to conform, to avoid disappointment. However, genuine pleasure resides in its own time. It doesn't adhere to any clock or instruction manual. Each individual has their own pace, and this rhythm must be honored. A 42-year-old man reported that after years of feeling the need to manage everything, he began to allow himself to experience sex with more tranquility. He and his partner established small rituals: a dinner together, a walk, a long conversation before going to the bedroom. Without pressure, without a script. Gradually, anxiety gave way to presence. And with that, the connection between them deepened. Breathing, meeting eyes, touching with intention. It seems simple, yet it is profound. The body responds to the emotional atmosphere. And when that atmosphere is safe, nurturing, desire blossoms organically. It is not a matter of technique, but of surrender. And that surrender only occurs when the mind is present, free from the fear of failure. Another crucial point is to move beyond the logic of performance. Sex is not a spectacle. It's an exchange, an encounter. And encounters are not always perfect. Sometimes they're funny, sometimes exhilarating, sometimes simply serene. And that's perfectly fine. Pleasure doesn't need to be explosive to be genuine. It can be subtle, calm, and still profound. Anxiety makes us forget this. It leads us to believe that if it's not movie-worthy, then it's not worth it. But real life is far more beautiful than any rehearsed script. Navigating anxiety in your sex life also involves cultivating self-esteem. When you perceive yourself with compassion, everything shifts. It's not about becoming flawless, but about embracing who you are: body, history, boundaries, and desires. Acceptance is the initial step towards healing. It paves the way for pleasure to unfold without pressure. As you begin to treat yourself with kindness, sleeping soundly, nourishing your body, asserting your limits, your body recognizes safety. And this sense of security unequivocally manifests in intimacy. Practices such as conscious breathing, mindfulness, and even journaling about your emotions contribute to regulating your nervous system. A simple exercise, performed daily, can yield remarkable results within a few weeks. The key lies in consistency, not intensity, and each small step forward should be acknowledged with celebration. Did you stop self-criticizing? Celebrate. Were you able to articulate your feelings? Celebrate. Did you take even a minuscule step towards self-awareness? Celebrate. This new stance towards oneself also inspires those around them. When you treat yourself with respect, others learn to do the same. And in the context of sexual relationships, this is transformative. You stop seeking validation from the other person and begin to build together. Through dialogue, patience, and love. The journey to overcome sexual anxiety is long, but profoundly liberating. It does take courage, yes, but it also brings back something essential: the right to feel pleasure, to live in the body with freedom, to build genuine relationships without masks or fears. And the most beautiful thing is that, along this path, you not only reclaim your sexuality, you rediscover yourself as a human being, whole, sensitive, worthy of love. Anxiety can be persistent, but it is not invincible. With support, listening, and presence, it loses its power. And when you realize you are not alone in this struggle, everything becomes lighter. The community we are building here is precisely for that. A space where you can speak, listen, learn, and grow. Without fear, without shame, with authenticity. If this video was helpful to you, even in the slightest way, I warmly invite you to subscribe to the channel. Your presence here makes a difference.